And welcome back, everyone, to Lantern Corps. The Lantern Corps, the Kickass edition. Actually, that's not a bad way to put it. Lantern Corps, the Kickass edition. That's not how I normally introduce the episode or this series, but screw it. I'm freestyling today. This comes to us from the guy who asks, "What is Kickass?" From from the Kickass movies, Lantern Corps. This is actually going to be a little bit different than the other ones. And the big reason is there's really only one good Lantern Corps for him. And that is the very boring Green Lantern. Strong will, overcoming great fear. That's something that follows Kick-Ass throughout the entirety of his series. So, there you go. And none of these other ones are really strong candidates beyond that. You could make a mild argument for a couple of them, but really, none of them really work. So, carrying over what I did from the last video, I thought it might be fun to, instead of looking at the Lantern Corps he would qualify for, which is green. Let's get it out right now. Green, under just over a minute. Video's over. Let's actually go down the rest of them and kind of order which Lantern Corps of the ones he doesn't really qualify for would he most qualify for and go down. I brought it up in the last video, but I think that's a kind of fun concept too. When you're done picking out the Lantern Corps the character could qualify for, then go down the list and try to figure out what's the most likely ones beyond that, even if they don't work. Out of all the ones that don't work, how likely are they? So let's get out of the way a couple of them that just can't work. Happiness is one that can't work. He's never been happy his entire life, joyful, all that. No, he's dealt with a lot of hardship, all things considered. So this one would probably be one of the ones that's at the very bottom of the list. The only other one that is I think would come in at second place near the bottom is probably Death. He hasn't technically taken a life, as far as I remember. He's fucked some people up, and he's been around death, but he himself is not personification of death, nor is he dead, nor has died, and he's really not taken any life. And even the amount of life maybe he has taken, it's been a long time since I've watched the movies. It would be so few in number that death probably falls immediately after that. But because he's been surrounded by a lot of death in his career as a superhero, there is at least a mild argument for it. Now that we've gotten those out of the way, let's look at the remaining of them. We got Ultraviolets, which is negative emotions, predominantly believed to be shame. We have the White Lantern Corps of Life. We got the Blue Lantern Corps of Hope. We got the Orange Lantern Corps of Greed/Avarice. We got the Indigos of Compassion, the Sapphires of Love, the Reds of Rage, and the Yellows of Fear. Out of all these emotions, and what we do know of Kick-Ass, among these, what are the strongest ones that he has here? I would probably be willing to say of the remaining Lantern Corps, his most likelihoods would be either Hope, Rage, or maybe Fear. But I honestly don't really go with Fear, because his costume is really dorky. It is not an intimidating costume at all. And no one's really they're intimidated because he just doesn't give up to some degree, but no one's really intimidated by him. He'll kick the people's asses, certainly, hence why he's Kick-Ass. But he doesn't strike fear. He's not a bad man. Hell, Superman, the good person that Superman is, the amazing, wonderful person that Superman really is, strikes far more fear just in terms of the mere concept of this being, this god, than Kick-Ass does. So fear actually is probably on the is much closer to the bottom. So between Hope and Rage, because he does harbor some anger about what happened to Big Daddy, about what's happened to friends of his, about the crime that goes through the city, Stars and Stripes, what happened to him. I would probably lean, though, more closer to Hope, having faith to become a better superhero to protect this city, all that. And then I'd put Rage. The reason for that, and that, would I actually put Rage beyond that? By the way, I didn't write any of these down. This I'm just doing off the fly here. Maybe next time I'll actually write it down in order. But I had to think about it, because Rage is got to be something that kind of dominates you. And while he definitely harbored anger, probably harbors some resentment, I don't think it's enough to really get him to qualify. Granted, I say qualify. These are all the least likely candidates beyond the obvious one, Green. So the percentage chances are not high for him to actually qualify for a lot of these. But we'll go green, then we'll go blue. I think blue is the most likely one after that. After that, I'd probably say compassion is a good choice. He is a guy who carries a lot of faith in people, faith in his friends. And he's not devoid of. I'd say compassion after that. Remember, compassion is a very weird one. It's got two requirements: none whatsoever, no compassion, or at least in the majority. I'd say compassion falls into the bronze. Let's call it the bronze. Then I'd probably go. Yeah, this is where I'd probably go fear and rage. And I'd probably go simultaneously in that order, fear and rage, because despite the fact he himself is not that intimidating, eventually word gets around that this guy is kicking criminals' asses and he's good at it. So yeah, I'd put it in that order. That leaves you with love, avarice, life, and shame. But you know, actually, let me backtrack, because I honestly have completely been overlooking ultraviolets here. He does actually carry some shame, but he hates a shame over what happened to Big Daddy, about not being able to protect him, about not being able to protect others. Would that be enough, though, to overpower? Wouldn't be enough to overpower the Green Lantern. Definitely would not. But would be enough to maybe put him into second place? If not second, then third, I'd think, because that's something. It's kind of like he needs that shame to keep moving forward. Like, it's a mandatory thing. It's a necessity, that shame he carries. So, yeah, okay. So let me backtrack. Green, blue, ultraviolet, and if I remember correctly, I said compassion, then fear, then rage. Okay, all right. We're moving along. The problem here with the remaining what do we got? Because I already said gold is a no-go. So death is like the next one down. So the only remaining three are death, love, and avarice. And remember death, love, and avarice. Life, love, and avarice. This is near impossible because remember, you need this as your love needs to be the thing that motivates you. You need to be motivated by greed, or you need to be the embodiment of life, know how to live, feel the thrill of life. Being alive just doesn't cut it. So I'll put life directly above the Black Lantern rings as like third from the bottom. So I guess I'll go love then avarice, but he really just doesn't have anything that defines those traits in him. Like, these are next to impossible traits. Like, yeah, I'm sure he will have love in his life. He'll love people. Maybe he will try too hard to get stronger too quickly and look for maybe shortcuts down the road, but that's all hypothetical. So I guess we'll go in order. The dominant one, just to recap, is the Green Lantern Corps. That is his core. But beyond that, you would go Hope, Ultraviolet's, Hope, Shame, Blue, Ultraviolet, Compassion, Fear, Rage, Love, Avarice, Life. You know, honestly, I'll even swap out Life and Avarice, because honestly, he's got a better chance of being a White Lantern than does an Avarice Lantern, to be honest. So yeah, Avarice, Death, and Joy. Yeah, like I said, this is one of those characters where most of the video is figuring out what order the rest would be in, than figuring out his dominant core. Dominant core for him is green. That's just it. There's not much else to him than that. And the rest of them is just his most likely candidate beyond that would be Hope, I think. And then followed by that would be Shame. Other than that, the rest of them are pretty mild to non-existent. But I don't know. Do you think he could actually qualify for one over the Green Lantern Corps? Let me know in the comments below. Also, what order do you think it'd be in? What order would you put the Lantern Corps for him, as strongest to weakest? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.